Hello and welcome to Liverpool. Bit of a different video this week. We're going to be sailing from Liverpool along the Mersey estuary, down the Manchester Ship Canal to the Latchford Locks at Warrington. And there's our vessel, Snowdrop. Done up, looking rather like a dazzle ship to me. Bit of information about Snowdrop. It used to have a different name. It was called the MV Woodchurch. And in 2003, I think it was refurbished, so I read, stripped down almost completely. Only the superstructure was sort of left, and it was redone up, re-engined, re-electrics and everything, and now it becomes the Snowdrop, in keeping with the Mersey Ferries sort of tradition of naming some of their vessels, their vessels after flowers. Anyway, I'm going to do an intro in a moment. You're possibly going to get two intros and you'll see why. Okay, so here's a map of our journey today. So we start at the top of the page. We start at Liverpool, city of Liverpool. We ferry across the Mersey over to Birkenhead where we pick up. And then we cruise down the Mersey estuary to kind of one side, if you like. Because the ship canal begins where it says Eastham. I don't know if you can see that. Just about part way down the page it says Eastham. That's where the ship canal starts, at some big locks there. And then we cruise along the ship canal and we go round past Runcorn, and then we go to Warrington, and we finish at Latchford Locks. Would have been ideal to sort of sailed into Manchester, but unfortunately I don't know why, but they're not sailing that far at the moment. But still, lovely cruise, leisurely cruise. It was about 3 hours one way to Warrington and then 3 hours back. They're quite popular, these cruises. It was quite the boat was quite packed. So if you wanted to do it yourself, if you take a look at, I think, the Mersey Ferries website, and you look at the cruise down the ship canal, I think tickets were about £46.
So, let's watch it. There's a lot of wind noise.
Hello, my name is Martin and welcome back to another video. I'm on a boat on the Mersey and we're going to go down the Manchester Ship Canal, and I'm talking very quietly because there's a lot of people watching and I feel very, very self-conscious. We've got a star with us today, star of YouTube, star of Yorkshire. What more could you want? Here he is. It's Darren from Adventure Me.
Hello, welcome.
Darren's going to try and do his intro now, and there's about 800 people watching him. Go on.
I don't care.
Say it loud.
Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're on the Mersey Ferry and we're heading down the Manchester Ship Canal. So something different for us today. And as you can see, we're joined by a coffee sipping Martin Zero. Actually,
Coffee?
It's Yorkshire tea.
Tea?
Not Yorkshire.
Okay, so as we approach the first stop, Birkenhead, I want you to clock that tower there on the right hand side, because I've got that was quite fascinating. I'll tell you about that in a moment.
There you go.
This rather interesting tower that you see here is a ventilation tower for the Mersey tunnels. It was constructed in 1925 and it's done in the Art Deco style. Apparently the architect was Herbert Rouse, or Rose, however you say that. But I think it's quite an impressive structure, to be honest with you. There's one on the other side in the centre of Liverpool as well, but not as stark as that one. But I would love to go inside there and take a look.
Damaged or broken.
Are we doing this intro at the back?
Yeah, we're going to do some intros because we don't talk in front of everybody upstairs. It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is going to show you some of the highlights. We're going from Liverpool just to Latchford Locks. We've got a guest star with us. We've got Darren here from Adventure Me, and Roy's over there, just looking very he's keeping an eye on things in the background. Anyway, right, well, never mind. Anyway, we are now entering Eastham Locks. This is the first set of locks on the Manchester Ship Canal. First set of locks on the Manchester Ship Canal, and we're going to sail down there, all the way along there, and the Mersey's ever present here. You see the estuary still present here, along here, underneath the Runcorn Bridge. And let me just see, we don't go to Manchester. We don't go all the way to Manchester. We get to here, to Latchford Locks. So I'm just going to zoom into Latchford Locks there for you. Let's have a look. where are we? Yeah, there we go. So there we go. The journey finishes there at the Latchford Locks. Okay, and then we turn around and we head back to Liverpool. So what I want to show you here is some of these road bridges. Some of them are swing bridges, and they're quite novel to look at, to be honest with you. There's quite a few. I think we encounter 3 along the journey. Okay, so the Manchester Ship Canal is a 36-mile long inland waterway. Construction started in 1887. It took 6 years to build it, and it opened in January 1894. So now that we're actually on the Ship Canal, and I can talk to you because there's not got a massive audience of people watching, I feel that I'm in homely waters now. We're heading home. We come from that foreign place called Liverpool. God bless you. 3 hours out to Latchford Locks. I was surprised it was that long, weren't you?
Quite long, yeah. It's been the going as well.
Yeah, we're motoring a bit now. Bit of a coal yard there. Look at that. It's not something you see very often. Tempting. Those are all lock gates there, just lined up against the canal. Amazing. I don't know why they've not been scrapped. That is quite beautiful, that. Look at that. What's that? Okay, so we're now approaching, bit of a highlight for me this, but we're now approaching Stanlow Oil Refinery. I love this place. If you were ever a kid going from Manchester to North Wales on your holidays, or from anywhere in that area, going to North Wales on your holidays, you always pass Stanlow, and it was always, for me, it was always a real time of excitement. I used to love passing this place. Of course, the band Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark recorded a song about it. And Stanlow has got its own terminal for the ships as well. You can just see here 2 of them in the berth.
And you can't stay together.
What new battery now, yeah.
In the 80s when the charge used to be on, I used to have one of them twin neck ones used to take.
And what you'll notice, you'll hear the ever-present lady who's somewhere on board the ship giving a commentary on everything. So you'll hear her chunnering away all the time, but I'll try and give you my commentary.
Picture.
Pretty impressive.
Right, so we're approaching the Runcorn Bridge now. Okay, so we're actually approaching 2 bridges here at Runcorn. The first bridge here, the darker bridge, in the foreground is the railway bridge, and it's called the Britannia Bridge or the Ethelfleda Bridge, and I'll type that down below here. Ethelfleda Bridge, opened in 1868. Now, why Ethelfleda? Well, apparently the turrets on it may be a Victorian homage to Ethelfleda, daughter of King Alfred, who is said to have built a castle near the southern end of the bridge around AD 915. And the next bridge coming into view now, the green bridge, is the road bridge, and that is the Silver Jubilee Bridge, and of course that opened in 1977, and it was built as a replacement for the Runcorn and Widness Transporter Bridge. There it is there, the Runcorn and Widness Transporter Bridge, opened in 1905 apparently. It says here the Runcorn and Widness Transporter Bridge was one of 5 transporter bridges constructed in Britain, and one of 2 to be demolished. So obviously that was the one of the 2 that got demolished. I don't know where the other one was. Now, what we're not going to see further up the Ship Canal is another transporter bridge called the Warrington Transporter Bridge. And that is still there. It's in a state of dereliction, but it's still there. And I keep meaning to want to go and have a look at it. But that's further up the Ship Canal. Like I said, we're not going to see that. So interesting that there were only 5 built, and that's one of the ones that got demolished. Anyway, let's crack on. So I'm not actually sure if, I'll have to check on the maps, but there's another suspension bridge there. If we're not far away from Spike Island, site of the famous 1990 Stone Roses gig, which goes down in history, but apparently was an absolute disorganised disaster, so I've read. But anyway, we're not a million miles away from it, so I'll do a little research on the maps and we'll try and check out exactly where it is. I think though it might be over here and we're not going quite near it. I think we're going to sort of go to this side of it. It might be over there, unless that's it there with the church on, but I'm not quite sure that it is. Yeah, so roughly where I was pointing was Spike Island. I'll show you on a map in a second. Now, when I say it was a disaster, apparently when you look into the gig, because 1990 I was like 23, I never went to it, but when you look into it and you look at the YouTube videos and everything on it, it says, obviously legendary gig, but it's one of those gigs that goes down in history. Apparently it was quite disorganised. The ticketing and the crowd control was quite disorganised. There was loads of support bands on, but completely kind of like the band had chose the support bands and they were irrelevant to like what the crowd might have been interested in. So the crowd had to get there, like, I think doors opened at 2 PM and they had to sit there for hours and hours in the sun all afternoon. Listen to these bands that they were kind of like a bit wider the mark of what the Stone Roses were, but it's what the Roses were into. Forget the crowd, what they might want to listen to as a support band. Apparently the sound system wasn't that good, and by the time the Roses came on about 9 o'clock at night, everyone was completely exhausted, but obviously they came on stage, the gig kicked off, and it goes down in legendary terms now. Apparently at one point they were going to have to call it off because if the water levels rose in the Mersey, nobody thought about the tide coming in and out and the spring tide or something, so I think they were going to have to call it off if the water levels were too high, and like nobody had thought of this. But anyway, yeah, legendary gig, but it was like fraught with a few problems. Here it is on the map, I'll show you now. We've just gone under the bridge there, and then Spike Island is actually across the way there. Coming into view, Fiddler's Ferry and the Mersey, the flats of the Mersey. Zoom back out now. There you go, a bit of a tour for the boat for you. Right, let's have a little walk around this boat, shall we? Just so you get a slight impression of the size of it. People tend to find the spot and that's it, that's where they stay. Most of the time we were right up front, up top, because obviously I wanted to get the shots and everything, but it's a nice little boat. And there's a shop on board, there's a bar on board. They were doing scouse. You could get a bit of scouse for your tea, famous Liverpool scouse, which is like what we call potato hash in Manchester. Basically a meat and potato stew. Staple diet of northerners. Anyway, I wanted to go down there in the engine room, but you couldn't do. There's the shop, well stocked shop. You'll see there that the bridge is opening for us, the swing bridge up in the distance. So that is swinging open for us there. So yeah, this is the first of, I think there was 3 swing bridges we went through, and I think these things are absolutely fascinating. probably quite dated now as well, but absolutely wonderful to look at. And they've all got their own little kind of like control tower with them, you see there. Darren's going to get a drink. Can you believe it? Watch this now. Darren's going to actually buy a drink. Is this true?
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
3 Coronas, please.
Oh, look at this. His method of payment's out.
Moths.
Oh,
moths.
yeah.
Don't get that in.
We've got a bit of mould on that card. Is it?
Like a nature reserve down there. Yeah, it's more nature.
So obviously you know him there, and we've got John here. If you remember John from the
Severn Valley.
The Severn Valley Railway, yeah? So he's back here on the boat with us. Thanks John for the day out.
It's good having you, Martin.
Anyway, let's crack on with this tour of the boat. Let's go up to the poop deck, whatever that is. Oh no, from deck, sorry. From deck. So we have another bridge there just swinging round for us. And we have another road bridge ahead, swing bridge. I've speeded this up a bit so you can see in action. Well, like I said, I do find these things quite fascinating, to be honest with you. And we're almost approaching Journey's End now. How many bridges can you spot in this shot, by the way? I see 3. But Latchford Locks is just in the distance down there now. So that is what they call Bunker Storm Drain, famous amongst the local urban explorers. It's a storm drain full of eels apparently. When you get in there, there's like a shallow section. It's full of eels that have come in from the ship canal. Another bridge there opening up. And as that bridge opens up, you can see there the Latchford Viaduct, which I'll tell you about in a moment. And then you'll see in the distance there Latchford Locks. And then beyond that is the motorway bridge, the M6 Ethelfleda Viaduct. So it's all happening here with bridges. And there ahead is the Latchford Locks. Okay, so you are now looking at the disused Latchford Railway Viaduct. The viaduct was opened on the 8th of July 1893 to carry the London and North Western Railway Stockport to Warrington line over the Ship Canal. It's made of wrought iron with a span of 250 feet. The last passenger service ran in 1962, but the line continued to carry freight until it finally closed to all traffic in July of 1985. It was deemed too expensive to make extensive repairs to keep the viaduct operational. So if you come on the boat, wear a warm coat because it gets a bit breezy.
And on the left, we can also...
Right, so if you come on the boat, it's wear a coat, it gets windy. It's a nice sized boat, it gets very busy as you can see. There's lots of people here. We're at the back.
If you've got children or grandchildren, you might have taken...
So there you go, the Latchford Locks, and we don't go through these locks because this is Journey's End and the boat turns round now. Those two arches on the right there are actually sluice gates that control the flow of the canal when there's obviously not ships going through. Now, I only wanted to show you the highlights of this journey, and it is obviously very, very edited because it was 3 hours. And there was times when we were cruising just through fields and things, so it really was just the highlights. So yeah, just a different one this week. We're going to head now back to Liverpool, and I'll sign out for you. Right, so there you go, some highlights of our cruise from Liverpool up the Mersey along the Ship Canal. With the ship piloted by Darren, Adventure Me. You never knew you could pilot a boat, did you? Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.
And there's Roy keeping an eye on things as always. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.